I saw Grums post this first, but then I saw a lot of other people talking about it as well. And I have a little bit of a different take, a little bit of a ripple to this one. So Grums on X said, gaming press lies and claims No Rest for the Wicked is failing and studio might close. But the game is beating AC Shadows and is older. Windows Central picks up a Discord post by CEO Thomas Mahler of Moon Studios and tries to call the game into question. I will tell you guys right off the bat, like, if you're looking to follow based developers, Thomas Mahler is a great follower, great follow. He typically has really good posts that gives you very interesting, we'll say, insight from a developer's perspective within the game industry. And he does not follow what the woke Journo Mafia requires of people. So they don't like him. In fact, he already got into it with Alyssa Mercante, and she called him all sorts of names. And some people even speculated that was one of the reasons she may have been let go from Kotaku, even though she would never admit that. The interaction that she had with him was, I would argue, unhinged. And it goes to show how the ideology of many people in the game industry just doesn't align with based developers. So there is a divide. Thomas responds, calling out the article and speculating that his non-politics is the reason the article was written, which may be true, but we'll get into it. But since the patch, the game has been doing very well, even beating Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, that's not too hard. With a peak of 10,866 this past day, AC was 7,727, which, oh my God, that is embarrassingly bad. Yet the press calls Shadow a success, while implying a game with more players is somehow a dud. So that's where I first picked up on hearing about this. And I went over to Windows Central, and this is from Jez Cordon, who sometimes I'm with, sometimes I'm against, but he's been in the industry for a little bit. And on this take, I don't necessarily disagree with his take, which I know, like I said, it's going to run counter to what most people would be saying about this. But I will agree with what Thomas Mahler was saying is the only reason the article was written is because the ideologies don't align, which I would agree with that. So the title says, Ori and the Blind Forest studio head says they could be forced to shut down due to the impact of negative Steam reviews for No Rest for the Wicked. And I really don't care about what the article has to say. All I care about is what Thomas Mahler said on Discord, which is this message right here. I think people think I'm joking when I'm asking for positive reviews, because in people's minds, there's always some big publisher in the background who'll cover costs. Folks, if you're writing here and enjoying Wicked and are excited for future updates, but haven't left a positive review, it's entirely possible that we won't be around in a couple of months to do anything anymore, simply because we got review bombed, which leads to people not buying the game, which means we're not making any money and we'll have to shut down. I wouldn't ask if our business wouldn't be dependent on it. I also never write reviews on anything, but if you want to see us actually finish Wicked, it's detrimental that we get the review score back up. I don't know if that's the right use of the word detrimental there, but whatever. So this was taken by Jez, who wrote this article, as saying they could be forced to shut down due to the impact of negative reviews, which I agree with, by the way. Like I said, I don't necessarily think this is like a bad take, because when I read what Thomas Mahler wrote here, I'm like, yeah, that's what I get out of that too. But what Thomas Mahler said was, we'll just go to more insight on the background to this. because I wanted more information. So I went straight to the source. Thomas Mahler said, lol, this is what happens when the press just picks up a Discord post and writes an article about them. Overall, pretty much everyone who's tried Wicked after the last few hotfixes is extremely positive. The reason I left the post on Discord up was simply to push back against some of the bullshit reviews. Which does this have? Yeah, yesterday at 10:55, which I guess was recent. I've been hated on Twitter by a few crazies for years now. One of them was Alyssa Mercante. And I also saw the calls for review bombing because, according to these folks, I'm yeah, you guessed it, a Nazi, of course. That's what they always go to. These days, apparently anyone who doesn't include 5 trans characters in their game and doesn't let their products be influenced by a political bullshit is a Nazi. What a world we live in. Again, very base developer. He doesn't bend the knee to these people. Love it. When the Russia-Ukraine war broke out, and I replied on Twitter saying that Moon Studios wouldn't be taking a public stance because we're a video game company, not a journalistic outlet, the next day, a threat letter with a picture of Putin was taped to my office door with insults from top to bottom, which we'll go to right now because he posted that here. This is the proof of that. Moon Studios is a sponsor of Russian terrorism, boycott of the No Rest for the Wicked. Thank you, Thomas. We need more apolitical Europeans like you for our plans to continue to empathize with my soldiers. And that's a winking Putin, which totally normal from these people. Where was I? So I have no issue telling active players who love Wicked that they should go ahead and leave a positive review on Steam. After all, it's allowed on Steam to buy a game, leave a negative review that doesn't even talk about the game at all. There are negative Wicked reviews that literally just say a period and then instantly refund it with the negative review still counts. If that's allowed, then it should also be allowed for a developer to encourage their players to share their real experiences. Which, again, I don't have an issue with the developer in the Discord saying, hey, guys, if you don't mind leaving a positive review for our game, if you enjoy it, that would mean a lot to us. What's the issue here? And no, we're not in immediate financial danger. But from time to time, I think I'm allowed to speak up on issues within our industry I personally find unbecoming. Which is true, but again, I'm going to push back a little bit. And again, this is coming from someone who I am a big fan of Thomas Mahler. But I'm going to push back a little bit on this because when I read this, he says, we're not in immediate financial danger. But then when you come back over here, it's entirely possible that we won't be around in a couple of months to do anything anymore simply because we got review bombed, which leads to people not buying the game. So forgive me for reading this and being like, pick a lane, Mahler. Like, come on, bro. I want to love you, man. I do. But come on. This is talking out of both sides of your mouth right now. A little bit. Like, yes, they're different statements, but they're very similar statements. But from time to time, I think I'm allowed to speak. Yeah, of course you are. We are continuing, as always. Our goal is for every game Moon Studios creates to be an absolute masterpiece, which I'd agree. Every experience I've had with Moon Studios games are fantastic experiences. And with No Rest for the Wicked, we're already on the way. We want our small 90-person company to push companies like Blizzard, GGG, and others to innovate by putting out products that are top quality and truly unique. We believe in competition, and we think players will win because of that. And then he quote tweets Jez. I don't know why this is. Did Jez block me? Probably. No? Oh, yeah. Wait. Yeah. Here I am trying to stand up for Jez. Funny. It's a cult. It's a cult that these people are in. I I don't think I've ever interacted with this guy, and if I did, it was never anything like negative or totally bad. But again, it's a cult. Ori and the Blind Forest studio head says they might be shut down due to the impact of negative Steam reviews for No Rest of the Wicked. Again, even though he has me blocked, I'm still like, yeah, bro, you can write that story just like Thomas Mahler can give his opinion too. I think the issue that, and he says here, if people don't believe me, here's what's hung on my door. 22nd of April last year. It's not always fun to be a game developer. And this was done simply because we said we'd want players from all over the world to play our games. And I get all this. That's great. But again, like Thomas Mahler is saying the only reason the article was written was because of the difference in ideologies. Right here from Grums. Calling out the article, speculating as non-politics is the reason the article was written. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't get that vibe. It might be. I mean, like I said, it's a cult. It's an ideology. I'm already blocked by Jez, so they obviously disagree with my ideology. I get it. But when I read that Discord message, that sounds like a story to me. Like that's a story. I would consider writing a story along those lines. If someone shared that DM to me saying, hey, check out what Mahler wrote on his Discord about if he doesn't get enough support, they might go under. I'd be like, damn, that's a pretty strong statement. I might write an article and do a video about that. I don't get why Jez is not allowed to do that, and blaming it on his ideology is just like, maybe, but it's kind of a reach to me. It's kind of a reach. But again, I don't know. I just found this interesting because No Rest for the Wicked, I've actually played it on stream long ago here. Probably 5 months ago, I played it one night and I had fun with it. The first boss encounter I came to completely demolished me. Like it was bad. I was like, damn, I need to not just get good, but I need to like get more supplies because I am not prepared to fight this boss. And somebody in the chat was telling me that I didn't get one of the item drops that usually drops because it's like random item drops. And they're like, oh, you kind of need that item that you didn't get and you fought a bunch of people. So you need to like go back and fight them until you get it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, and I never went back to it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just, it gets the difficulty ramps up really quick on it. So just heads up on that. Chris Brisket says guaranteed ideology track record proves that. It could be. It absolutely could be the ideology. But again, I'm just saying, reading the message from the Discord that got shared out, like that is a story. Now, the angle that Jez takes on it might be very anti-Mahler, but it's still a story and it's still bringing up saying what he said. And I almost get the vibe like Mahler's trying to say like, well, what you're saying is not what I said. It's like, well, no, it is what you said though. So I don't know. I have a really hard time agreeing with Mahler on this one. And I really want to. That's why I'm like so torn about this whole situation. But yeah, it is what it is. And No Rest for the Wicked is a fun game. I'd recommend it. So, but the Steam reviews are pretty positive. I mean, that's a lot of negative reviews, though. Damn. 10,800 negatives? That's almost like a review bomb. Wait for the full release. Game suffers from probably the biggest lack of QOL features I've played in 30 years of gaming. That's kind of a... You haven't gamed for 30 years, if that's what you're saying. I did not get that vibe from it. Is it perfect? No. But I didn't get the vibe to be like, oh, it's a bad game. The QOL is not good. This bad. I would say there needs to be balancing. And yeah, sure. Also, the get good thing is a thing that I need to get good with it. Of course, I'm not just going to blow through the game right when I start playing it. But like not getting a drop that you really need to get in order to be able to handle the first boss. Like that's a problem that should probably be addressed. Like it's stuff like that. But yeah, that's the situation with Thomas Mahler and No Rest for the Wicked and Moon Studios. It's a fun game. I feel like people are being irrationally harsh on it, but that doesn't mean the game's perfect. So, yeah, it's been in early access for a very long time now, though. I wonder how long. See, I played it for almost 3.6 hours the first time. But it's fun. It's fun.